Oh, Maisie, are you laying down on that? That's so sweet of you. Let's go ahead and open this. I'm so excited to talk about this idea. I'm really hoping that my friends on this live can help me. Because last night, this idea was just a tiny little blimp, and just in 24 hours, it's already turned into a major thing. Oh, Teresa, we've got a fun live. I did it vertical. I'm sorry. I didn't really want to do it horizontal. I don't have the setup to do it right now, so we are vertical, so you're gonna have fun. Actually, this is gonna be a really fun live. I'm really excited for. I probably should have waited till Winging It Wednesday to talk about this. This could have been a really good thing to talk about on Winging It Wednesday. But that's okay. We'll get there. We might not have a lot of people join because it is late, you know. Maisie, it's okay. But for my few friends that are gonna be here, I came up with a brilliant idea last night that I want y'all's kind of opinion on. And maybe, I feel like there's a lot of logistics to it and it'll take a while to do. But I feel like because of the nature of it, it kind of requires some thought, and I feel like I need to talk it out with lots of different people to kind of get ideas. So I have a really fun teaching update idea, and I know there's only 20 of us here, but hear me out, and if you can help me maybe get some ideas steamrolling, that would be really great. I probably should have brought a little notepad. So I have really, the past month been missing teaching. I teased your mom about her picture with her ice cream cone. I didn't even see the picture of her ice cream cone. I don't know what she said, Teresa. I would just like to put it out there that I made that ice cream cone. So if she said anything bad about the ice cream cone, I made the ice cream. She didn't even get up off the couch, and I made her ice cream. So yeah, I've really been missing teaching, and I feel like it's been stumbling into my YouTube, which I think is great, and it has kind of fulfilled a part of me that I was missing, but yeah, this one's gonna be interesting. But I've really been missing teaching in a school setting. And I do not miss the politics of teaching. I do not miss that mint chocolate chip with Rocky Road. Yeah. So Teresa, that is the thing, is what she does is she does Rocky Road and then mint chocolate chip ice cream on top of it. And it's really, I think it's really weird if you ask me, because I don't know why you would want to mix mint with why you would want to mix mint chocolate with Rocky Road. Personally, I already don't like Rocky Road because of the marshmallows and stuff, but that's just me. And so then to mix it with mint chocolate chip to me is a little odd, but it's her favorite thing, and I couldn't get the cake she wanted. The king is not here. The king was here, and now the king is gone. I'm gonna let you handle it, Teresa. I just need to stop. It was just my instinct to do it because he said the king is here. Yeah, no, you're not the king. We only have one king. It's up there. Anyways, so yeah, Rocky Road on the bottom, mint chocolate on top is my mom's favorite ice cream combination, and the mint chocolate chip really needs to be the Baskin-Robbins kind. And then I couldn't find the Baskin-Robbins Rocky Road, so we did Haagen-Dazs, and I didn't know, apparently, Haagen-Dazs is, fancy schmancy brand, because when I put it out, it goes, oh, you went all out. And I'm like, you don't get Haagen-Dazs all the time? I get Haagen-Dazs. That, I love it. And he's like, oh, no, we're a Bluebell household. And I was like, I didn't know there were levels to ice cream, but okay. Anyway, so it was a really fun day celebrating my mom's birthday Thursday. We celebrated a little today. But I also got some great insight when I went over there about this idea, and I'm so excited to share it and kind of brainstorm. So I'm like legitimately asking for ideas. This is my I'm excited to document this too, because I want to see over time, because it's going to take about a year to kickstart, I believe. I it's going to take a while, and I want to see the progress. And so this is the first time I'm like talking about it where I can come back and like watch the video and see. So if you have any ideas when it comes to this, please share, because I need it's going to take a lot of research too. So like I said, I've been missing teaching, and I've been seeing a lot of like first day of school, this is my morning meeting kind of thing with kindergarten teachers, and it's been so fun watching that. And I miss all the chants and like doing the days of the week song. Like we used to do we did days of the week to the Addams Family, and so it'd go like days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week. There's Monday and there's Tuesday, there's Wednesday and there's Thursday. Like that to the Addams Family thing, and it's so cute. And like I miss that kind of thing. And teaching letters, I was scrolling through TMU, and I got like an ad for, oh my gosh, an All About the Alphabet pocket chart where you like introduce, sorry, Maisie's causing problems, introducing like letters that day, and I miss it. And so I've been circling around the tutoring idea, but my thing is, I don't want to be just a tutor. I want to teach as if I was in a public school, but I don't want to be regulated by the state. And so maybe by that you understand, because the regulations by the state is where all of that kind of you can use farm animals for counting. Yeah, definitely. But I think the thing I miss is actually having kids with me and like teaching. And so, and I really like that Made by Megan. I like the community I have. Oh my goodness. That's ugly. Yeah, you're definitely right, Rebecca. I could do it for that, but I kind of like that my channel, if I was going to do it, I would make like a kids channel. So that's just kind of how I would do that, but I'm not ready to explore that. Because the thing is when you're doing like what we do on YouTube, it's harder to get videos out to children because it's made for adults, and we have to like legally select that no, it's not made for children when we post it, for our monetization purposes. And so it doesn't get pushed to like, I know what that means. We're actually, I'm gonna report that. Yep. I took care of that. That person got reported. And I miss that aspect of teaching. And so being regulated by the state and stuff like that, there's nothing wrong with public school and private school, but a lot of my issues came from not being able to freely teach and having to teach an agenda that I didn't feel like was serving a lot of children. And I would just love that freedom. And so when it's come to thinking about when Ellie and I have kids in the future, like would I send them to public school? Would I homeschool them? What would I do? And I lean more towards homeschool just because I do have a teaching degree. That's a fact. I'm not certified right now, but I could easily go, I'm not sure what you're doing here, but okay, cool. I'm not certified right now, but all I have to do is pay to get recertified. So like, I also keep up with teaching skills because it's something that I enjoy. So I know that I can teach. The capability is there. So why wouldn't I homeschool, you know? But I'm not ready to have kids yet, and it'll be a little while before I can even do that. And so I was thinking, like, what if I chose to make a small cohort of homeschooling? So a lot of times when people homeschool, they will form a cohort with families in their neighborhood that are doing it, and they will, like, 2 days a week, they'll send their kids to the cohort to have a lesson with a different teacher, or they go on little field trips, because you have the freedom to do that in homeschool. There's, as long as you're using the curriculums that, are, as long as you follow your state's laws for the homeschool, and everything's different. So, just kind of different things there, but you have that flexibility, and I love that. And I was thinking, what if I formed my own cohort? And last night it was, what if I taught kindergarten, but to parents that did not want to send their kids to public school, didn't want to send them to private school because they don't want them in a group setting of like 30 kids, because let's be really honest here, when you have 30 kids, the amount of one-on-one time you get is so little, and one-on-one time doesn't actually happen. What actually happens is called small group time. The only time you get one-on-one is when you're doing formal assessments. Otherwise, you're in small groups, which is 3 to 4 kids based on their levels or whatever, depending on how your school does it. And so there's really never one-on-one time. Now, I can't speak for private schools. The thing about private schools is, of course, they're still going to be regulated. I want a lot of freedom. I really do. I've seen what it's like in a regular school. I'm sure private school's a little bit different, but I also want to do things where I would be able to do things at home, because the reality is our animals need somebody to be home, right? And they just require us to be kind of around, and that's very hard. And if Ellie wants to go and get a coaching job, that's something that, if he wanted to go do that or something else, because, behind the scenes, he pursues different things that nobody even knows about. But if he ever wanted to do that, I want him to have the ability to not worry about the animals at home, and he can go out and do whatever he needs to do during the day. So I would rather stay home anyways. So if I had like a small cohort of 4 to 6 kids, last night was thinking I would have like a whole kindergarten. I would do their kindergarten year, and I would use a homeschool curriculum, but then you would have a lot of elements from an actual public school teacher, because I went through the 4.5 years of education to get it. I student taught. The only thing I didn't do was go into my first year of teaching. I did it all. I passed all my certification tests that I had to take, I think the only thing I didn't take was my ESL certification, but that's just English as a second language. And I didn't take that because I knew I wasn't going to go into the classroom, so I didn't feel like I was going to pay money for something that I might not use. But that's besides the point. And so then I ran into the problem of like, okay, we could have like a whole thing of like, I do the kindergarten year. It's like homeschool kindergarten. But then Ellie and I were talking, we're like, well, what happens when those kids are done with their kindergarten year and it's time for them to move up to first grade? Because I've scoured the internet, not greatly. I've done a little bit of research, but I have not found anything like what I'm describing of these kids would if I was to do it, I would refurbish the barndominium, and I would make the barndominium a little schoolhouse. The kids would come to me. Their parents would pay for me to teach them, because it would have to be a pay thing, because it's not free public education. It's more like private homeschooling. They don't have to deal with the whole 30 kids. Their kids, what is normally small group time, would be one-on-one attention with their child. And the thing is, am I certified to teach K through 6? Actually, pre-K through 6. Yes, but I really like pre-K and kindergarten. I'm really good at that. And so what would happen when these kids need to move to first grade and their parents were like, yeah, we really liked this, let's get them to the next? Well, if this is an idea, I'm not saying I'm coming up with this idea, but in our area, I don't think this is a thing. Hello, little bit, please get down. So what would they do? Now they have to go, well, where are our kids going to go for first grade? Or if I moved up with them to first grade, where do they go to second grade? Because when you're homeschooled, you are accredited by, your kids will be accredited. But at some point, there's going to be a place, legally, I have to say, at 6th grade, I can no longer teach you, But I don't want to teach 3rd grade. I don't want to teach 4th grade. I don't want to teach 5th grade, because I don't like the content. If you're going to teach something, you have to love what you're teaching. You really do. And I excel with the younger babies. I just do. I like teaching those fundamental life skills. This is how charter schools, they start with kindergarten through first grade, and every year they add a year on. Yeah, and so I wouldn't want to like add a year on like that. And so that was the problem. It was like, well, you have no marketability if you don't have, you're building technically a business. You have no marketability if you say, okay, we're done with kindergarten year, go figure out what to do for first grade. What is the point in getting them in a year-long structure and then just saying goodbye? So I talked to my mom today, and my mom is so brilliant because Ellie and I didn't even think about this. I don't know if y'all know this because education has changed a lot, but they have a thing called kindergarten readiness, and you cannot just do like nothing with your child and expect them to thrive in kindergarten if you just put them in there. Like, there are skills they need to have. There are things that we are going to be doing on the first day that they already have to have skills of, or they will be behind. It's just a fact. You, like, even my school that I student taught at, 3 weeks before I got there, all the incoming kindergartners had to go like one day during the summer, and they took like a short assessment with all the kindergarten teachers, and they saw like where they were ready at, and then they were able to sort them into the classes that they needed to be in, and that works really great. And so kids need some base knowledge before they go to kindergarten, because nothing to kindergarten is very difficult. So then you think, well, what comes before kindergarten? Pre-K. Well, a lot of pre-Ks are, in our area, the way pre-K works is if your parent's a teacher, you'll go to pre-K. I think low income, I believe. I don't know a whole lot. I never taught in pre-K, so just kind of what I've heard. Low income and maybe SPED can get into pre-K, but it's like very selective. And not everybody just gets to go to pre-K out of school. At least in our area, that's how it works. And so what if I took the concept of pre-kindergarten prep? Could this be done in a year-long session? Could it be done in half sessions? It would be like a hybrid of daycare and pre-K. So like, if I was to do it, I would say, okay, because these are not kindergartners, they are not going to be going to school 5 days a week. So let's take some 4-year-olds, maybe even 5, about to start kindergarten, and let's get them transitioned. Because if you go from being home every day with your mom and your dad to go into school 5 days a week for however many hours, 7 to 3, whatever it might be, it's such a hard adjustment on kids. And not everybody can afford this. I'm aware of that. It would definitely be for a targeted audience, unfortunately, that could afford it. But I think it would be something that would make me very happy. I don't know what like pricing or anything like that would look like, but you would take right before they're going to kindergarten, and you would teach all of the skills, the fine motor skills. You would teach them letters already, because really if they already know letters going into kindergarten, it's going to serve them well, because at some point the kindergarten pace picks up really quickly. And I'm speaking for Texas only, because Texas does different than every other state. And so I signed my daughter up for start here because my husband, she can't go, even though her speech is really delayed. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like I said, certain incomes can't get into, a lot of times they're called Head Start. Yeah, pre-Head Start. Head Start, pre-K, same thing. You have to be like a lower income. I think maybe if you have a SPED diagnosis potentially, and then if your teacher is a parent at that school, you can go to pre-K. At least that's been my experience. And so I would want to offer to those families that want to be able to send their children to a Head Start thing where it is like school. It is like school. Like, you're coming in, we're doing morning meeting. You know, I have this whole day blocked off. We're going to do morning meeting, and then we'll do a read aloud, and then we'll have a break, and then we'll do reading time. We'll do phonics. We'll do colors, all of that. You know, we'll do all of that, but it's not as strict. And because it's Head Start and not kindergarten, you know, I'm not like at the end of the year, you're not like left out of what to do next, you know? Your next step is you send them to kindergarten somewhere. I did the Head Start portion for you, and don't delete it, Teresa. I've got it. Report. Let's say harassment or bullying. So harassing me. That person, you actually made an accusation against me. That's defamation of character, just so you know. Legally, you could get in trouble for doing that on the internet, just so you're aware. Making accusations. Actually, I'm I'm not gonna lie, pissed me off. Pissed me off. Okay. Say hi while I calm down for just a second. Yeah, somebody just called me a goonie. A troll just called me a child.
Goonies, this thing for flag football team.
I'm aware.
We're the Goonies.
I know.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
A troll just called me a child and then the M word. Horrible. I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Darn children out there.
And I'm pissed about it. Okay. Can somebody please tell me where I left off where I was talking? That's actually really irritating because that's like a serious accusation. Even if you think you're just being funny, that's not cool. That's annoying. Okay, where was I? Let's backtrack. Let's backtrack. So essentially I would be doing your, oh my gosh, your pre-kindergarten Head Start kind of thing. And I would have a lot more freedom to just get them ready for kindergarten, and then I'm not leaving parents hung out to dry, because it's not like actual like a school grade level. It is an optional Head Start, you know? And I would do it kind of like hybrid with like daycare. So it would be something of like of course you're going to get childcare, but it's going to be geared more towards a school day. But I wouldn't do it every day of the week. I would do it like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. So then like Tuesdays and Thursdays, depending on how it would go, I would still have those Tuesdays and Thursdays to do major farm chores. I would do something like refurbish the barn dominium, or if we ever move in the future, I would get like a little barn shed thing and like convert it. You have a bathroom in there, you have a sink in there, the kids would bring their lunch, and then you know, if we wanted to, we could even go have lessons outside. Now, with that said, with kids coming to your house, there has to be insurance. There has to be, you know, a lot of legality stuff that I'm not sure about. There has to be, what do you normally sign? A waiver, because there are animals here. And of course it would have to be like, there would have to be changes with some of the animals just running around. There would have to be talks with parents like, okay, you know, yes, I have emus, they're in the pasture. We're not gonna ever do anything with these animals. And anytime we do anything with animals, I will have that lesson planned out. I will be in constant communication with you and tell you exactly what we're doing with these animals. If there's any allergies, you know, any kind of thing, like, I'm being 100% communicative with you. And so they would be at my house, but they wouldn't actually be in home because I protect my home. I separate my work and my home. So even like all of the video stuff, I have to very much separate indoor, outdoor. And so in that sense, they wouldn't be in my home. They would be on our property, but they would have their own area. All of my stuff would have their own area. There wouldn't be cats in the house to distract the children, you know. And Bernie, you can't hiss at the bug. If you're trying to kill the bug, honey, you can't hiss at it. Can you hold classes online for these kids to make it a really fun, interactive environment? And that would probably cut on your insurance cost. I could. I'm not in favor of putting children online like that. I don't think that they get, just in my opinion, I feel like being there is much different than doing it through the computer. There's just something different about the interaction, and I want it to be where like the parents don't have to worry about it, you know? You're paying for the convenience to not have to worry about your kids learning in that way, because kindergartners on computers just, I remember times when we had to have them take assessments on the computer, and that happened 2 times. And the days that I found out it happened, I wanted to pull my hair out, because it was like, they do not know how to operate these. Like, I can say the same thing 100 times and they're still gonna click the wrong buttons because you have to put them on a Chromebook. And it's just, it's harder. And so, yeah, you're right. I think you still have a lot of regulations to follow, but the regulations are different. The regulations would be more like health and safety things, like insurance, like how many kids can you have in the building, like that stuff doesn't hurt me. What hurts me is the regulations and the regulations on curriculum, and just like when I talk about getting into politics of teaching, when you as the teacher know what's best for the student, but sometimes you are not able to do what is best for the student because you have to do what your administration told you to do, because that's how we make money and we bought this curriculum, so we're going to use it even though the curriculum might be trash. Then they're done that. Watch that happen. Like, yes, I love Jessica's idea. Sneed's Family Farmhouse does that. Yeah, so I will probably talk, Judy will probably be a huge resource for me. I don't really want to have people come out to the farm right now. That's not something I really want to do. I love hosting people, but I feel like for me, I'm not a very social person. Like in person, I'm really not. And I'm craving that teacher to student relationship. Like, I really miss that student teacher relationship. And I say that, and somebody's going to take it and go make it weird. Probably a Goonie that's going to show up, honestly. But a huge part of teaching is a relationship. And I can say from experience, when you go on field trips, you don't know who the person is talking. You're still wanting to look for your teacher for things. And field trips, they're fun, but I just don't feel like you get like, I don't know, it's just different. It's not really what I'm interested in. And I think animals are so unpredictable, you know, you want to always be able to, if somebody's coming for a field trip with your animals, like, you want your animals to behave and do certain things and act a certain way, and that just doesn't happen. And for me, that's too unpredictable, and I feel like too much of a liability with children, you know. And that's just me personally. But that's why I'm kind of thinking like this Head Start, pre-kindergarten, homeschool kind of thing. Now, like I said, I am going to take the better part of a year, because this is not something I'm dead set on doing. This is like future plans kind of things. If I could start it in a year, that would be really, really fun. I'm not going to lie, but I'm also not rushing to do it. It is something pre-future to kind of get back to my roots with teaching, because I do really enjoy what I'm doing right now with the animals. I am still trying to build my Made by Megan brand. I'm slowly doing clay stuff. I really enjoy all of that. And if I did it this way, where it's 3 days a week, that means I still have Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday to do it, and to do all of my other stuff. And the kids wouldn't be here every day and all day. It would be like a 10 to 2 kind of thing, you know? They get lunch with me, you give them breakfast, bring them, Brittany, honey, don't do that. You give them breakfast, and then if like one day we're learning about like animal noises, okay, we learn about colors. Let's go outside and let's find some of these colors that I just taught you. Yesterday, I taught you what the color blue is. Let's go outside and see where we can find the color blue. What color is this animal? You don't know what that color is? Oh, that animal is brown. That's a goat. What sound does a goat make? And are those like teaks per se, as things they have to know? No, you could hatch chicks and they can help. Exactly. What we're doing is just getting curious about our environment and acting around with our environment and just getting them used to seeing and learning things. Not, you need to learn this, this, and this by September, and then at the end of September, if this is not mastered, well, you're going to be behind for what we learn for this, this, and this month. And then at the year, if the benchmark at this year you're not here, well, what are we going to do with you? Well, we can't hold you back. Let's just send you along. It's not, that's what I do not like. And there's no freedom, there's no budge room there, and it's not serving the children. And that is my like qualm with how public school was. Like, we're not actually serving the kids anymore at this point, in my opinion. And is it brutal and harsh the way I'm saying it? Yes. Going off of my experience, it's not my administration. It wasn't the administration's fault. It's not the teacher's fault. It's everything that comes from the state. It really is. And that's how it goes, unfortunately, with teaching, especially nowadays. And that's why you see so many people from it's just daycare. But it's not daycare, because if you would see, it's not just daycare, because we would actually have a structure. I would actually be lesson planning. I would be teaching it just like I would in a public school, but tailored for their environment. So it's more than daycare. She's using a structured environment. It's pre-K teaching. Exactly. It's just Head Start, not in a public setting. It would have to be like a paid, you could consider like a paid tutor almost, but they would be coming to me. I would be providing the education. I'm at public school is just daycare. Oh, okay, sorry. I got really fired up. I'm sorry. Yeah, public school is just daycare now, really. I mean, if you ask a bunch of teachers, they'll tell you it's just daycare. It is. The kids are out of control. I get very fired up about this. There's a reason that I did not do my first year teaching. And it's not just because it wasn't mentally compatible with me. I had a lot of issues with it, and that I'm the kind of person that if I see something wrong, I'm just not just going to stand for it and roll over and let it happen. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to participate in that. I understand that not everybody has the choice, and sometimes you have to just buck up and do things. And will your population be able to afford this program and have transportation to get to your house? What things do you have to do to qualify for Head Start? Very good questions. I'm really glad you're putting these in here, because I'll be able to go back. And so, like, I don't have the answers right now. And, would the population around me be my target audience either? Sadly, no. And I have to say that because I do not speak Spanish. And so for the population around me, for those that know what is around us, I'm also not ESL certified, and I would not be comfortable doing like bilingual education. And students that speak to dual languages, English as a second language, which is primarily what's around us, there's a lot more that goes into their education that you really, need to have that certification for and take the classes. And I never did get that part of my certification because it wasn't required, and I knew I wasn't going to teach. Like when I had to get the ESL certification, I would have been getting it when I was student teaching, but I knew once I started student teaching that there was a very high possibility that I was not going to actually go into my first year of teaching. And so when I took my last test during student teaching, you normally take 2 of them at the same time, which is the optional ESL, but it's actually not optional if you're going to teach in a public school. But I knew I wasn't going to teach it in a public school, so by the time it came to take the test, so I just didn't do it. And you don't have to graduate or get your certification. It's just an additional part of your certification that can be added on at any time. But it's been a few years since I've taken those ESL classes because they were earlier in my college career. And so now I wouldn't feel comfortable being able to implement those skills unless I took more classes on it. And so it wouldn't be, unfortunately, for the population around me. I've thought about it enough. I know I'm trying to say it without with being politically correct. There are areas around that I would service to, you know, there would have to be contracts and things, and there would have to be agreements in place that like, this is that, is that really Jamie? Is that Jamie? That's not Jamie's channel, is it? Teresa, is that Jamie's channel? I don't think that's Jamie. Are you just being nice and saying hi? That's not Jamie's channel. I didn't think so. I didn't think so. Okay, I'm just making sure. But yeah, I just, I know where to market to. I know exactly where to market to, and it would be effective. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't just, when I sprung out this idea, you can guarantee that I have in 24 hours, this is a 24-hour idea being cooked up. I have thought about a lot of things, not everything. I have thought of a lot. And so, you know, that's why I said it's going to take a year, because at least a year, because I would have to get things like filed with the state and all of that, and make sure I meet all these requirements, insurances, see what I have to have, what I don't have to have liability wise. I would have to have waivers because we have animals here, you know. There would have to be contracts with parents saying like, you know, you're agreeing to this. This is what I'm liable for. This is what you're liable for. This is what I'll be doing. This is what you'll be doing. Like, I will not be your transportation. You have to get your kid here and home. I don't mind watching them an extra hour, you know, but that's like, that's a whole, it's a second person saying I look like Bella Ramsey. It's so weird. Again, yeah, that's so weird. I do not look like her. That's so interesting. Yeah, so there would have to be a lot like planned out, a lot of communication with the people that actually want to do this. And that's why it would only be like 5 or 6 kids, because I'm not gonna deal with, need to do a feasibility plan with measurable goals and measurable objectives, safety with the physical building. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of legal stuff. That's why right now it's just a little idea, and well, it's a big idea, but to realistically grow it, there has to be avenues. And I wanted to talk to y'all about it because y'all have already given me so many ideas to already think about that I hadn't thought about. And I want to see how each month, how this progresses, like how much progress I've made, because this is, we're going to call it a long-term goal for future purposes of just making myself happy. It would also be another income for me, which is great. Support the animals, support us, you know, but also while still supporting my teacher. And see if it's financially workable. That's absolutely true. There's lots of aspects to it. So it's definitely going to take a lot of time to plan. I think at the very least it would take a year. And that's being like not realistic at all. That would just be saying like, that would be the absolute earliest it can be done. This is not something you can pull together in, write it out, write it all down, and then pass it through someone. Yeah. I think I'm gonna definitely start writing it down. This was my first step to it, of kind of, yeah, it could take a year or two just to get it started, and that's totally fine. I'm here for the journey, you know. I'm excited to build it, and then at the end of the day I can say I built this thing, you know. And who's to say that it won't start a whole movement of things like this and open doors for teachers that are in the same situation as I am, you know. So, oh, definitely that financial consultant thing is already, that's already in play, because we have an LLC for our content creation. And so you really, when you have a business LLC, you really want a financial consultant and a tax person to be, a CPA to be doing your things like that. So there's a lot of avenues to it, but I think it's going to be super fun. State would probably give out grants. Yeah, and it's super fun for things like that, and I would be able to fill out my dream. I would be able to still make an impact on some kiddos' lives. I feel like it would really help some parents out. will there still be a Head Start program? Well, so yeah, the schools all have their Head Start programs, you know. I would more so be kind of like an independent Head Start program almost, because I don't think it's feasible to do like kindergarten and then you just kind of leave your parents hanging, because I don't want to move up any farther than first grade. So like I could teach your kids kindergarten and first grade, but I don't want to move up to third grade. I don't like the content. I really feel like I specialize in younger grades, and so it would be more so kind of Head Start. And you know, when you're doing Head Start kind of things, you're starting with fine motor skills and teaching them just really how to interact with the environment. You're starting with the alphabet. You're teaching them colors, because we do not teach colors in kindergarten here in Texas. I don't think we teach shapes either. I remember we did teach the alphabet, and we did not teach the kids how to write their name. Actually, I think we did, but I don't think it was like something that we were like in the TEKS supposed to do, because there were some kids that didn't know how to read or write their name when they came in, and so we had to teach them how to do that. And that's a whole thing. There are some kids that don't even know how to, you have to literally teach them to flip a book the right way. It's called book orientation. It's one of the first things you teach. We read from left to right. This is the front of the book. This is the back. This is the spine. The author writes the book. The illustrator draws the pictures. You know, so much more goes into it than you realize. And yeah, you teach all of that in preschool. And so not everybody has the ability to go to preschool, or I'm more so gearing to the people that want their kids in a smaller setting, because even in preschool, that's 30 kids in a room. Because if you are a teacher, I wanted to leave your class. That's great. I don't care. That's just really, I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, so there's so much that really goes into it, and a lot of all that's required. So like I don't know what all is required by the state of Texas. And again, that would go in like, is it required? Or is it not, you know, because I don't think that a lot of things are required in our state of Texas. But again, I'm not as updated because I've never actually had to look at what you need before you come into kindergarten. I had never been in a kindergarten classroom before my student teaching, and I was just thrown into that. I had been with the older kids, like second grade to fourth grade, most of my time doing observations and stuff. So I wasn't really exposed to that. So we'll see, but it's getting late, and I still have some things I need to do. Y'all, I'm gonna give you this little tidbit of information here right now for the special 30 of you that are here. Something very exciting is happening tomorrow morning. Very exciting. Like, new friend alert. Very exciting. Potentially will need to drink from a bottle. I realize that sounds like an actual baby. Yeah, maybe a new bottle baby friend is coming tomorrow, very early in the morning. So I have got to get prepared for that friend who may or may not be in a similar situation to what baby Hero or baby Maisie was in. Wink, wink. So that's happening tomorrow. So yeah, I just wanted to get on here and kind of talk through some things, and also have it as part of my documenting my journey. So like when I do go back and write things down, I can come back and watch these lives and pencil in things, all the things I need to know. So it'll be good. But thanks for listening to me yap. Thank you for supporting me. I'm really excited about this idea. I'm going to be very realistic about it though, in making sure that I do this the right way. And we may not have, you know, seeing this taking off the ground for a year or two. But my hope is also to be able to video my like growth of that as well. So like on my channel, you're going to be seeing all my different avenues. You're seeing my animals, you're seeing my clay, you're seeing my mental health. But then you also get to see a little bit of my teaching while keeping the kids' privacy, you know, But yeah, I'll talk forever if I keep going. But I've got to go. I will catch y'all next time with another one. Bye, friends. Oh, wait, you're new here. What is my channel about? My channel is about animals and my life, but mostly my animals and my life. We have a lot of animals. You can go watch the videos. It's very fun. It's a great time over here. There's a lot of moral misfits around here. But anyways, I'll catch you next time with another one. Bye, friends.